Hi, everybody. Jacob Irons here from Shamrock Sports, and we're bringing a new entity to Shamrock Sports in a long-form interview conversation. I'm Jacob Irons, and I'll be hosting Coaches Conversation, where we talk to coaches about the upcoming season or some of the developments within a team. But first, we have a sit-down conversation with Coach Salima Rockwell, the newly appointed volleyball coach, sits down with me over Zoom to talk about everything and more. So stay right here. And then, Coach, after stepping away for a little while, why was it time to begin coaching again? And why specifically was Notre Dame where you wanted to continue coaching?
Right. I think I've always thought about it, even when I stepped away. It's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes you just need some time. Sometimes you need a step back. And I think that's been great for me. Different perspective. I had a chance to recharge. And, every year I expect, or not expect, but I know that I might get a call. And sometimes it's just about timing and the right opportunity. And really when the Notre Dame opportunity presented itself, when Missy called me, it's just one of those programs that has the name, has the prestige, has everything surrounding it that you can really do something with. So for me, it was about getting to know everybody, understanding the vision of the athletic department and to see if it aligned. And once I had the chance to do that, that's what brought me here.
Now, Coach, in my opinion, you have held every position in volleyball except one, head coach. What excites you about being a head coach for the first time?
Well, I think, I've just learned so much over the years. And I really feel like had I done it 20 years ago, it would have been a totally different animal. And the way I viewed it, my approach to it, I just feel like I'm in a good place right now. And so it's exciting to be able to mentor young athletes, create an awesome environment and culture, and win all at the same time. I think if you would have asked me 20 years ago, it would have been a little bit more about winning first. And all of that other stuff, we plug in. But I've really grown as a person and a coach over the years. So it excites me to get back in it and to have an impact on the student athletes.
Like you said, with that time away, do you think that you changed your perspective as a coach from being the winning is the only job to seeing yourself as more of a facilitator with the student athletes you're working with?
For sure. And it's just a high pressure job. It just is. And I think anyone you talk to, you get pretty beat up. I was doing it for 18 years in a row. And I think even just being able to decompress a little bit gives you different perspective. And like you said, being around my family, being around other people, seeing other programs while I was doing the commentating. And there's a lot of different ways of managing your program, which was, it was very educational for me, interviewing coaches, how this program does it, how another program does it, gave me some different perspective. And I think bringing all of that back in is going to be huge for us here.
Coach, you allude to being a commentator and you give the spiel, you stepped away from volleyball. However, volleyball still had a piece of your heart as you were a commentator for 3 years. So what makes you love volleyball so much that even when you were going to step away, you said, hold on, I'm even going to do it when I'm stepping away?
Yeah, that's a great question because I tried. I tried to completely run away. And it just happens to me every time, and it just gets you. It brings you back in. And I think when you're in our sport, I love the sport. I love it. I grew up loving the sport, but I love the people, the camaraderie, the friendships, the community. I really don't think there's another community like the volleyball world. And to stay connected and keep my hand in it in that way, when I was presented the opportunity to commentate, I was like, this is cool. I can scout, I can call a match, and I can go home and not care who wins. That's kind of cool. But really staying involved just because the sport is so fun. It's fun to watch. I love the athletes. I knew so many of the athletes still from recruiting and scouting and coaching against them. It was a no-brainer to be involved in that way. Yeah.
And Coach, you were a setter as a player. And then for a majority of your coaching career, you worked with the setters and on offense. So what does a Salima Rockwell offense look like?
That's an interesting question. Yes, I'm a setter running the offense. I mean, it's really an offense based on what you have, right? So I would love to say I like to run a really fast offense. No, I like to run a smart offense based on what I have in the gym and allowing my setters to be very creative with whatever I give them. So teaching, growing, and learning, but then giving them the reins to be able to make decisions on their own. Because in the end, I can't be in their ear like in football. I can't tell them what plays to run every time they're about to set the ball. So I like to empower my setters to have a really good grasp on their opponent, understand what they need to do offensively, whether it's versus a certain defense, whatever it is, and then have them be creative within it. So long story, but that's a Salima offense. No.
And no. I get it. I'm trying to fit a very large part of a team's dynamic into one single question. So any answer is phenomenal. And then how much does your playing career come into it? You're a 3-time All-American setter with Penn State. And oh yeah, just by the way, you were on Team USA as a captain for the 97 and 98 teams. So how much of your playing career affects your coaching?
Well, I think it comes into play significantly. And I think what you're seeing this even with some of the former players that are now coaching, you look at Danny Busboom Kelly, there's some coaches that played at a high level, and you can see how that translates. And it's not just this is how you train, and this is the only way of training. I think when you've played at that level, you understand that there's so much nuance, and you want your players to understand that and give them the freedom to do that. I was talking about that with the setting, but that's in every position. We can be creative. Things are not going to line up perfectly. So training isn't a static, linear thing. It is a very variable skill, no matter what you're training. And I think having that experience as a player allows you to give that to your own team and let them be super creative in how they play the game.
And now I want to quote AD Jack Swarbrick in his press release. He said, Salima has succeeded at every level as a student athlete, as a professional athlete, collegiate coach, and broadcaster. How has success followed you? Why has, when you look around, success has never been too far behind you?
Oh man, I don't know. I think when you're passionate about something and you work really hard, those are the two things that I think I bring to the table all the time. And I'm consistent with who I am. And I think when you work to achieve certain things and you're not necessarily looking at the end goal all the time, it's more about the process of becoming better. I always wanted to be better as a player, as a coach, going to clinics, going to seminars, as a broadcaster, leading on my friends, calling Maria Taylor and Holly Rowe. Like, how can I be great at this? I think when you're inquisitive, you work hard and you're passionate about it, then success can follow.
Now let's get into some clinical questions here. You were announced as a new head coach on January 6th. And then 11 days later on January 17th, you hire Craig Dyer to become your associate head coach. Then yesterday, as we speak on February 1st, you hire Sarah Matthews, both who are in their own right considered some of the top coaches in the country right now. What are you doing to get them on your staff? I want to know your pitch because you're selling Notre Dame really well to some of the best in volleyball right now. I would love to hear the Salima Rockwell pitch, if I may.
Well, it's simple.
I don't think it's as simple.
Fun. We're gonna win. Like, it'll be fun and we're gonna win. I mean, that's it. Boom. No, I'm very fortunate. I've known Craig Dyer for years and years, 20 plus years. I've seen him work. I've seen what he's done on the men's side, winning championship. Like he's done it all. And I knew, and it's something that he and I had talked about for years. I think when you're a coach, you kind of always have your people. You think about who would I want to bring on board? And for him as well, if he ended up in that position, we kind of always talked about that. So I knew I was going to go for it and see what happened. And and I'm really good friends with his wife, and she's one of my best friends. So
Had the nice little, you had the voice in his ear. You're like, come on, like Salima has called you.
Exactly. And it's not simple. It's never a simple move. It's hard leaving teams. It's hard leaving programs. Like, it's really a tough decision, and even for someone like Sarah Matthews, the same thing. I've known her for a long time, and she's done the same thing. And what I really want for our team, for myself and our team, I want to surround myself by people I know, that I trust, and can train my team at the highest level, and that the volleyball world and community respects. And that's what I have in Sarah and Craig. And that's what I'm most excited about. I don't have to worry about them. I don't have to think about them. If I'm gone, they can absolutely step into anything. If a phone rings, either one of them can pick it up. So I don't know. I think they knew that coming in, that we would have pretty good synergy. And so I don't know. That wasn't my pitch, but that's why.
And then, Coach, what excites you most about this upcoming season? You had some transfers go and leave and go to a different school, but you also have some big name players who are coming back, one being Hattie Monson, who was a big part of the team last year. So what excites you about the team you have in front of you? And the question that always follows as a new coach comes into a program, are you dipping your foot in the transfer portal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm excited about, like you said, the players that we have. It has been so fun being in the gym. Like, we are having a blast right now, training hard, retraining some things, tweaking some things, doing some things differently, but they are so open, and they're just hungry to be back in the gym. So it's been exciting. Bringing Hattie back was huge, and she is an absolute rock star. But quite frankly, all of them that are staying are amazing. They really, really are. So that excites me. The incoming freshmen that we have excite me. We have some really good players that are already committed, that are fired up that I'm here, Craig's here, now Sarah. I'm getting texts all over the place. And yeah, we're going to have to dip into the portal, only because we're missing some key players. I mean, it's a bummer but I get it. A lot had committed elsewhere even before I got on board. So we have to fill in a couple of positions that we're missing. Notre Dame's a very, very tough academic school. So there's balancing, how's that going to work? Who's admissible or not? Like, how can we get players in? So we're in the mix with a lot of really good kids. And so we're just working on getting them on visits and having them integrate with the current team that's here, and to see where we're at. So I'm excited about all of it. Yeah.
And now the final question. What have you been doing with your team in the off season to get them to know you? You just had a birthday, as well as to add on top of all this craziness that you've put on your plate just in this short amount of time. So what have you been doing to find yourself within a new team? Once again, gym is only one aspect, as you alluded to in the beginning, of being in a team, but it's so much more of what happens on the court, at practice, and in the training room. So how are you getting to know your players outside of the facet of volleyball?
Yeah, a lot of one-on-one meetings. I always FaceTime people. So when we talk and they're not in my office, I like to do this because I think you can really feel a little bit more about how things are and dynamics. So if it's not, if we're not able to, and we just get on a call, that's what we've been doing. Asking them. I had, a couple of meetings about tell me some things about you that I wouldn't otherwise know, that's not volleyball related. They're doing the same with me. Working on a lot of just different motivational things, assigning them, hey, let's do this. You choose a motivational quote for the day, put it on the board, tell us why, and let's kind of get to know each other in different ways that way as well. But really just before practice, joking around a little bit, pulling somebody aside, we got the music going, like we're just making an environment that's very welcoming. I tell them office is always open if they need to pop in. And it's great. They have, like, they're just amazing. And I'm going to continue to do that. Craig and I right now doing our best just to get to know them one-on-one in those little ways. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a ton of fun.
That's going to do it for this coach's conversation. I'm Jacob Irons. I'm going to give a big thank you to Salima Rockwell for sitting down with me and having this conversation over Zoom, as well as also want to thank the SID, Dan Wacker, for sitting down with me and allowing this to happen. So thank you so much, and go Irish, and continue watching Shamrock Sports.